Welcome to the 2024 Texas Tech football season preview. I'm Jared Johnson, and Mighty Joe Yeager and I will be going more in depth on both previews on the offense and the defense this week, leading off to kickoff, which Texas Tech opens the season at home, 6:30 Saturday night at the Jones against Abilene Christian. And of course, Texas Tech is big favorites over the FCS opponent, but there's some things we want to see, of course, that, like I said, Mighty Joe and I will be talking about with the offense and defense and then the season overall preview. But this is the broad picture. Just I want to give my thoughts on what I'm looking for from Texas Tech, my prediction in terms of wins and losses in the regular season, and what I think Texas Tech needs to do in order to have a special season. First off, I think head coach Joe McGuire said it best Monday during his press conference that Texas Tech needs to keep Barron Morton healthy, and I think that's a key. I know that's an obvious thing to say, but it's so true. I think it just stresses the importance of just what Barron means to this team, the fact that they haven't been able to keep their quarterbacks healthy the last couple of years, and just how it helped derail last year, at least the beginning of last year. And how hamstrung the offense was by the injuries at quarterback. So, every season is its own adventure, but and this is a different team. I think that if you watch Texas Tech's videos, you've heard all the coaches, but especially defensive coordinator Tim DeRuyter, head coach Joey McGuire, talk about just how much depth they have on defense. But they have some pretty good depth throughout the roster, more than I'm used to seeing at Texas Tech. I've been doing this for a minute, over a decade, covering Texas Tech exclusively, going out to those practices, seeing the roster, being familiar with the roster, all the way beginning from the recruiting process through when they see the field, and then eventually move on. And no matter what happens in terms of wins and losses, in terms of talent, size, speed, depth, ability, this is probably, I would say if it had more experience overall, it would be the best roster. But in terms of just talent, potential, this is the best roster I've seen at Texas Tech probably the whole time. And I know Patrick Mahomes played here in the time I was covering, but the defense was on the other end of the spectrum, if you will, in terms of talent most of the time while he was here. So that I can't say that those teams were more talented. This team, like level by level on both sides of the ball, you feel pretty good about. You still have some questions about the offensive line, quarterback, in terms of if Barron can stay healthy and just how good Barron is. I believe he's very good. He has a lot of potential, but this is his first time being the guy, and this is his first time. Hopefully he'll be able to stay healthy. Hypothetically. When you look at running back and Taj Brooks, you have one of the best players in the country, definitely one of the best running backs in the Big 12, I believe, in the country as well. Really good tight end room. Hopefully they can stay healthy. You've overhauled the receiver room. I like those guys. You brought in a five-star phenom in Micah Hudson, but Josh Kelly from Washington State, Caleb Douglas from Florida. I'm missing some guys, but at tight end, I really like Mason Tharp. Please, if he can stay healthy. Jalen Conyers from Arizona State is a very good receiving tight end. John Carlos Miller, I think, will surprise some folks. I hope he gets opportunity as a receiver because he's better than I thought. So the offense, if that offensive line can come together and keep Barron Morton healthy, then that offense has a lot of potential. Coy Aiken coming back a receiver as well. They have some talent, and it's for Zach Kitley to put together. And there's no doubt he's under a little bit of fire this year. I don't know if all of it's deserved. I think some of it is, but I don't think all of it is. Just like with most things with coaching criticism, but no excuses this year. The offense has all the weapons, I believe, if that offensive line comes together, in order to put up a lot of points and help the team win some games. Defensively, defensive line is very deep. That's something that's been talked about a lot. You got a good mix of some veterans like Marion Banks, who had some really bright spots last year. Quincy Ledet, who played as a reserve but played well when he went in and had a good fall camp. Some of these, like Jaden Cofield, Trayvon McAlpine, these young just monster defensive linemen, defensive tackles. I think are going to be very good. The fact that they could rotate 6, 7 guys during games is just a luxury I don't remember Texas Tech ever having, to be quite honest. I'm very excited about the outside linebackers. Amir Washington coming off that big performance against Cal in the Independence Bowl. 4 tackles for loss, I believe 2 sacks, just a really good game. And that wasn't like an anomaly. He's had a great offseason, great fall camp. Harvey Dyson stepped up at one of the other outside linebacker spots. Isaac Smith is back, and he's a freak. Joseph Adedire is a very good player as well, especially, I believe, against the run. So I really like that position. Inside linebackers, absolute strength. Jacob Rodriguez, one of the team captains, along with another team captain, Bryce Ramirez. Ben Roberts, who was a freshman All-American last year. John Curry, very good young inside linebacker. That's a really good group. Justin Horn in there. In the secondary at star, really like A.J. McCarty and Brendan Jordan. I know I'm going into more detail on the roster than I think I expected when I started this video, but Braylon Lux at corner, Mohorn, Jalen Peoples, those guys at corner are really good. Chapman Lewis is already being hailed as one of the leaders on the defense, despite being just a true sophomore. And C.J. Baskerville, steady veteran at the boundary safety position. And all guys behind them, like 4-star recruits behind them coming up. So it's all there, and you look at the fact, just again, broader picture, 7 home games this year. You don't play Utah, you don't play Kansas State. Good schedule on paper for Texas Tech. Like I said, 7 home games is huge for Texas Tech. You get that big road test at Washington State. I know Washington State isn't a world beater, but it sets up in a similar way that Wyoming did last year. In fact, that it's an outpost non-conference game early in the season, so that could be huge for Texas Tech. But no, I think you look at the strengths again. Just going back to the improved depth and speed and size on defense. You've revamped your receiving core. You still have that All-American running back, All-American candidate running back in Taj Brooks. And so the questions come back to Barron and the offensive line, and then how do the coaches do in terms of getting everybody in the right positions to succeed in their in-game decisions. But I have Texas Tech winning 8 games. Some people think that, I'm way undervaluing what Tech could do considering everything I just said, the schedule and the improved roster. And I hope I'm wrong. Of course, the team wants to go to the Big 12 championship game, and I think that is an attainable goal, but I think a lot of things would have to fall into place. I try in these preseason look and see what do I actually see, not what do I hope. And I see a good team that has those questions at very important positions. I think games like at Oklahoma State could be tough. Arizona could be tough at Iowa State. And so far, under Joey McGuire, and this is something he's well aware of and talks about, is they haven't proven that they could win consistently on the road. So there's some tough opponents, tough places to play. And when I have to see it to believe it. Can they do it? Absolutely. Can all these pieces come together and Tech make a run and be a kind of a Cinderella team in the Big 12? Yeah, the potential's there. But the combination of the questions, some inexperience, things like that, 8 regular season wins will be a step in the right direction. It's been a while since Texas Tech has won 8 regular season games. So that would be a nice step in the right direction. Next year, some of these guys that have either this is their second year or their first year, get a year older, those top 25 recruiting classes develop, and I think we really see the fruit of the recruiting success next year. If they could build off this season, even 8 wins. I say just 8 wins would be a really good step in the right direction. Anything more than that, I think would be terrific. And I think McGuire said it best. I want Texas Tech to be playing meaningful games in November. And it's been a while since Texas Tech has done that. When I say meaningful, I don't mean just trying to get to a bowl, just like McGuire said, but actually figuring in the Big 12 title race. So even if they don't get to the Big 12 title game, which I know what everybody wants, and I get it, that would be great for me too. But even if they're just in the race, playing meaningful games, suspenseful games around the top 25. I think would be great for Texas Tech, and clearly getting off to a fast start would be huge. Winning at obviously beating Abilene Christian at home, which Texas Tech should do. Winning on the road at Washington State, and then taking care of business at home to start Big 12 play. After playing North Texas, that would be just an amazing start for Texas Tech, and I think then we can start saying, all right, maybe the Red Raiders have something, and hopefully the team could all come together. But 8-4 is how I see it. I hope they prove me wrong, but regardless, I can't wait for the season to kick off. We're just days away now. Like I said, my Joe and I will have more in-depth previews breaking down the offense and defense. But for now, I want to thank you for watching, and until next time.